You're welcome, our viewers. It's such a privilege to host this beautiful ladies in this real life session. You're very welcome once again for this session in real life, and we are so privileged to be here with these wonderful ladies, smartly dressed on a Women's Sunday in Exceller's Chapel. We are so happy to be here. I'll give them 1 second to just introduce themselves before we dive into today's discussion. Over to you, Rita.
Hello, this is Accelerator.
Bonjour, my name is Eleanor Magongo.
And I'm Grace Navanakulia.
Christine Moloza, and nice to be here today.
Wow, thank you so much, ladies. I'm so privileged to be hosting you and moderating this session. Today, being a Women's Sunday in Exceller's Chapel, we want to talk about something that touches women, something that touches mothers, and anyone who is aspiring to be a mother at some point. You know, we are aspiring to be in the highest offices in the land, and God has given us the first office, which is our home. So my question today is around, are we balancing these offices where God has put us? Are we exalting one and leaving one down? Are we draining one and, feeding the other? Yeah? And from that, as you pick your minds from that, I just want to borrow a post. It's a LinkedIn post, which was posted by one of my lady bosses at the bank. And she said that this hits home. It's even harder if you're a working mom. My 4-year-old misses having me do the daily drop and pick up from school. I purpose that I will do the school run every Friday, and it's become a ritual she looks forward to. Having spent my early years working hard and delaying starting a family, I desperately prayed and did whatever I could to have a child. Having her the way I did makes every moment with her more priceless. I'm deliberate that despite all the demands of the job, I make it back home in time for my bedtime routine, which includes bath time, dinner, bedtime story, and a prayer. And she ends by saying, 20 years from now, the only people who will remember that you worked late are your children. It hit home because I'm a culprit of this. I want to pick your ideas on this. Are we doing better as parents, as mothers, as the different people God has placed us in other different offices? How are we doing on the side of parenting vis-a-vis our work in this generation currently? Over to you, Kristen.
I think, to me, I'll say yes and no. Yes, in the sense that, as we know, I don't want to bring in the issue of economy or something, because I'm a Christian. I believe in God, and I know He can change things. But one thing I would like to say for the bit of yes is, every parent, I strongly believe, loves their children. But because of circumstances, at times you end up being swept away into work because you want to make sure that they have a brighter future. So I strongly believe that no parent deliberately desires to just neglect their children. Though to some parents, they can invest in work and they forget. I'll give an example. I mean, you can be a parent, and okay, you got a contract. Your contract is 8 to 5, but you're the kind of person who wants to please everyone. In other words, even if they give you work that goes up to 10, you're going to do. But you have a husband, you have children, but for you, all you're after is pleasing your boss. And you forget that there's also a family you need to take care of. So I think we need to strike a balance, set priorities, and know, yes, I have a job, it fends for me and my family, but I also have a family that I do not want to miss out on. So striking a priority, and you're like, yes, you have this boss, and if he's given you work up to 10 p.m., you're like, okay, I have a family, I'm going to do this work up to 7, and then I can come earlier tomorrow maybe and complete what you wanted me to do up to 10 p.m. And then you go home early and you take care of your children. So for me, that's what I would think.
Okay. Let's get some ideas from specifically Pastor Grace. She's passionate about children and she would ask a woman to leave their job, I think, to take care of children. Please, let's hear your thoughts.
Thank you, Doreen, for hosting me once again on this show. And allow me welcome our viewers out there. Thank you for tuning in. As a child, I mean as a person that doesn't have biological children, but I have children that I call mine, spiritual children, children that have become my friends, and all those things. I take this from the years I've worked with children. I've realized that children, they are like time itself. It flies. Time flies. So, as a parent, and knowing very well at the back of your mind that you really want to provide for these children, and to some, they are single parents, single mothers, or fathers. They really want to provide for their children. But I want to bring this on your tables, that please understand that these children are like time. It flies. You may say that, okay, let me work for them for these 5 years. But looking back 5 years later, you have lost that time with your children. And these children, they are like the way you will have a blank paper. Anything you write on it with a pen, even if it's a pencil, even when you erase it, it wouldn't, look the same like before. So those days, those years that you spent saying that you're working for your children, there is someone else that is writing on this paper. And yes, you're going to provide for them, but they will miss out on the quality time that you could have had with them. And when the future comes for them to start, talking about their past, it will be hurtful to listen from other fellows that whose parents had time for them. The experience will be different. So I'll urge the parents out there and anyone that is praying and hoping to become a parent that please understand. It will begin with understanding the priorities and the importance of these two aspects. The family that has children and a husband, and also your job. Understand both benefits, understand your effectiveness in these areas, and then choose right. Like Dr. Christine said, if you need to talk things out with your boss, talk to them and let them allow you some time to go back home earlier, so that you purpose to create time for these people. The husband wants your time, more so the children. And there's one thing that I understood, that once a child is held poorly or brought up poorly or badly, like I may say, we have a poorly brought up generation, because the values, the morals that they have learned on the way, they are the ones they are going to instill in the coming generation. So just go beyond your child that you have right now and look at their children. What you're putting in them, is it worthy enough for them to transfer it to the grandchildren? So that's a caution that I'll bring on the table.
Wow, thank you so much. It reminds me of someone who wrote a book, Raising Future Parents. It's another book. Yes, Mami, we want to pick your ideas on what is happening.
Thank you very much. I think I'll pick up from where Christine started, that it's very important for us to understand that every parent wants to spend time with their children, wants to make sure that
every parent wants to make sure that they're spending time with their child, and they want to invest in them, they want to do the best for their child. However, the daily aspects of life sometimes hinder that very genuine desire. And it reminds me of a time I was attending a meeting, And I used to think some of these challenges are common to us in the African setting, where there's jam. There are so many things that seem to work against our efforts to really be good parents. So this person told me, you know what? It's like when I became a mother, I signed up to becoming guilty. So I asked her, what do you mean? And she said, it's like every time I feel like I'm doing my best, and yet at the same time, I feel like I'm not doing enough. And I think that is a feeling that every parent has. So how do we deal with that? The first thing is to know and tell yourself, I love my children and I want the best for them. The second thing to do is to ensure that amidst the busy schedules, you try to routinize or come up with a pattern to ensure that you're spending time with the children. Is it easy to do? I would say no. Especially in our country where you have to wake up at 5, rush out of the house like you're a bullet because you want to beat traffic, and then you're going to find the same thing in the evening when you're coming back. And sometimes you have leftovers of work, like everybody is saying. So it is important for the family to understand or to agree on what are some of the areas that we all enjoy, or what are some of the things that we enjoy to do, and make sure that you're, as much as possible, prioritizing those. And then lastly, to do yourself a favor and stop on going on the guilt trips, because you love your children, you are doing the best you can, and the best you can do for yourself is to be grateful that you are even alive to do what you're doing for your parents, or for your children rather.
Wow, thank you, Pastor Elena, for that. Let me pick some ideas from Rita. What do you think?
Wow, I just love this topic. As for me, I just remember a question my son used to ask me, Mommy, what time are you coming back from work? And then you're like, wow, it seems I've not been giving him time. But what I learned from that, he asked me a question, I was like, I was a bit guilty, but again I was like, but I need money that we have to use at home. But I learned one thing, that I have to make a routine. So I made a routine whereby I had to even talk to my bosses. You know what? By 5, I have to be out of work. It's a must. If there are some extensions, some emergencies, that can be maybe worked later or online. And they're like, it's fine. And I said, wow, God works. So as a parent and a working parent, it's really vital for us to spend time with our children. But still, you have to be sure with that routine. At what time do you leave work? Because there are questions these children find outside there, and then they're like, they have to ask you to get some ideas from you, because they face so many things out there. So by the time you come back at night, they're already asleep. You're like, in their minds, just imagine what's going in their minds. Because they'll sit like, maybe you don't have the answers to their questions, or maybe you just don't need to spend time with them, because you can't tell. But as a parent, and really a working parent, we should always endeavor, because there is no much time, but we should always endeavor to spend time with our children. Thank you.
I want to quickly add something. I think sometimes as women, we are also good at making each other feel guilty in this parenting journey. Why do I say so? There's a time I went for a women's meeting, and this person was saying, oh, you know, if you're a mother and your children are writing on the walls, you are irresponsible. You should train your children to know that walls are not places where they should write. So I listened and I was like, okay. The first question that came to mind is, how old are this lady's children? And of course, by her age, you could see that she's much older. And she went ahead to say that when they go out with the husband is always telling her, you know, we need to go back to our home. It's more beautiful than this hotel. And so she was presenting herself like, you know,
Perfect.
I am perfect.
Yes.
Now, I came from that meeting and I made a determination that from today onwards, I will listen to people's advice, but I will pick out only what works for me. Because thereafter, I was also with another lady, and she was telling me, you know, for me, we gave up on the things of house helps. I do my work myself, and I don't use house helps anymore. So I asked her, how old are your children? And her children are in secondary school. So again, if you're speaking to someone and you don't tailor your message, then you're bound to lead other people astray and also to make them feel like they are not doing enough. So it's very important, even as we do this talk show, as we go to different parenting, women's meeting, understand your situation and where you are in your parenting journey. You cannot tell a mother of a 2-year-old that if your child writes on the walls, it is your responsibility. That child, want it or not, they are going to write on the walls. There is also going to be a phase where you will come home, and as you sit, you realize that you're sitting in a wet area on the chair. There's also that phase. The children are growing, they are getting off the pampers, and sometimes they actually do urinate in the chairs. There's also that phase. So if you come to my home and I'm in that phase, and then you begin lecturing me how I need to be responsible, you're getting it wrong. It is a phase. So we need to allow ourselves to go through these different phases. I cannot currently tell a mother of a 2-year-old, your children are under 5, and I say, oh, I don't need a house help. If you have 3 children, you're going to need a house help because you have to go to work unless you're a stay-home mother. So we need to tailor our messages as we share our experiences. And also, us who are going to these meetings, it is also important for us to know what is going to work for you in your parenting stage and what is not going to work for you.
Wow, interesting. I just want to pick some. Our time is almost up. Just parting shots around still the same topic. I know, yes, we've talked about the routine and making it work in our side. But currently, in our generation where we are, we believe that we are told on other side, apart from the side of parenting, we are told to, yes, do our best. You're not supposed to be in that role for more than 2 years. You have to pursue to go on the top and all that. And there are so many targets as well to meet. So just some words to that woman who has just gotten into marriage. She's a new mom, and she's a Christian as in the first place. She's a new mom. She has this job where she wants to grow there because you don't want to be still in that position for so long, and you have to do your best in everything. And some people out there have told us that you can't be your best in everything. You can't be, good at work, good at your good wife, good mother, good employee, good. But somehow I have a belief in me. I believe, I trust, just like today's sermon they were telling us, that once you have Jesus, like, there's so much more you can accomplish and be good in everything. Just a word to that mother who is struggling there, is a new mom, but also has a job, who wants to also, she struggles to, be on the top of her game.
All right, I'll go first. Wow, yes. These have been, we've had some serious talk here. But I'll just want to encourage that mother out there. You talked about the issue of aspiring you want to go up in your career. And at times we are really on tension that you even forget to enjoy the moment. So this is what I would say to someone out there, a mother who is struggling. You want to go up, but at the same time you want to make sure that your children are okay. Number one, do your best. Whatsoever you've been assigned to do, do your best. Give it your all. And then number two, enjoy the moment. Do not focus on what the future, I'm not saying we shouldn't plan for the future, but first enjoy the moment. And the other thing I would want to encourage this person is, be intentional. Position yourself. As you're aspiring for these things and you're doing your best to make sure that you shine at your job, position yourself. Don't just be a person who does the best but you're hidden, you hardly come out in meetings, you don't talk. Position yourself. And then on the side of the parenting, like we've had earlier, have a routine. If you're a working mother, you're working 6 days a week, 5 days a week, have a routine. Have some things you share with your children. I'll give an example. Like for me, if I had kids as a Christian woman, I would make sure that we have time to pray every day. Maybe share the word. And also time to hear from them. You know, taking care of children is not to buy them what they want, taking them to the zoos and to enjoy the castles, but also building them up. So having time also to just listen to them. I'm fond of having time with my nieces and niece and nephew, and I usually call them and I tell them, tell me, how has been your term? How has school been? And you realize at times they share things with me, and when I share with their parents, they're like, what? They've never told me that. But I'm intentional. I purpose to ask them because I want to know. So, lastly, enjoy your life and do not feel guilty. Do what you can and trust God to take you every step of the way.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine.
And as like you stated, this is a new mother and she's a Christian working mother. How can we advise her? I would say, first you have Jesus that makes the impossibles possible. You know that at the back of your head. Second, have a plan of the things you want to do, you want to achieve. You know, so much pressure comes on us simply because we reach at our workplaces and we start comparing ourselves. Like you're a new mother, you have one child, you're comparing yourself with a mother that has been in the journey 20 years down the road and the children are all grown up, and so the road seems to be a little lighter for that mother. But you're comparing yourself with them. So understand the season you're in. You are a new mother, newly, wedded. Understand the season. Like Doctor said, enjoy that season. But at the back of your mind, I have my Jesus, I know my plan. So you're going to calculate yourself. 5 years down the road, I want to be this, trusting, believing, praying, and doing everything that you can as you, with the help of your Jesus. You're going to enjoy this journey. So I would advise this mother, understand the season you're in. You have your Jesus with you. Cling onto him. Enjoy the moment. And then plan. Don't compare yourself to other mothers because all of us are running a different race.
Thank you so much. Mommy, in less than a minute.
There are times you'll have to make sacrifices looking into the future of your children and your family. So when that time comes, it might be difficult. Sometimes it might mean leaving your child behind. You're going for that job is away from where you live. But it might be the sacrifice that you need to make in that particular moment for the better future of your children and your family. Be able to discern that moment, talk about it with your spouse, and once you agree, support each other, make that sacrifice. In the future, you will appreciate that you went through that moment of hardship, of difficulty, but it has yielded a good result. So sometimes those situations will come and we have to go through them, but we must stay strong and focused, looking at the future.
Thank you, Mami, so much. Rita, lastly.
Thank you. My take home today, it's like, as a new parent, like you said, a new mother and working, there are jobs that don't allow children, but I advise you can get a helping hand out. And also you should make time and maybe make a routine whereby you have to know that time you're going back home to take care of your child. And above all, you're a Christian mother, stick on to Jesus. He will always make a way that can be possible. You may end up having your own job or your own business. In just a way like that, you may never know what God can do. But above all, it's Jesus. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, ladies. Those are awesome insights, and thank you for allowing to really share your advice and your parenting moments with the rest of the people. We thank you so much. And to you, from us, to that lady, don't go on a guilty trip. We have all fallen short when it comes to parenting, but Jesus helps us. So thank you. Hang in there, and you're going to do it better next time. May God bless you. Thank you for watching here at Excellence Chapel. We love you very much, and we can't wait to see you next Sunday for our service and also real life class. Thank you so much.